I am going to design and sew a quilt with a solvable murder mystery in the very fabric. But we're great poets and thinkers here, obviously, so we're not just going to stop at the surface level. This quilt is also an homage to Gothic granddaddy illustrator and queer New England weirdo, Edward Gorey. He illustrated the iconic PBS mystery intro. First, we're going to design the scene of the crime, then create a cast of gory characters, hide some clues throughout, and I'll leave it to you in the comments to put the picture together. And just like in quilting, embellishment is encouraged. To the crime lab. The clues to keep your eye out for in the back of your mind are 3. 1, the murder weapon. 2, the murderer. And 3, the motive. These have real answers. Everything else is a story for you to create. I've only ever made one quilt in my life, and it demystified the process just enough to give me serious quilting audacity. And this is a seriously audacious project. I'm going to have to learn a lot of skills to pull this quilt off, but we're going to start easy. This is one of the most old school quilt blocks around, but it's new to me. So I'm going to take some scrap fabric and make a little mock-up block first, before I touch my real fabric. She is a pointy starburst shape called a Sawtooth Star, but she's just little squares and big squares. This part of the process is called piecing, and you sew these pieces together left to right, then top to bottom. First, practice Sawtooth Star complete. And today, this is my mission. I'm gonna work on making 6 of these. Boop, 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 boop. Get as much of the border done as I can. I'm gonna try to set up like a really efficient station, because with quilting, it's not just like one task for a long time. It's like we're cutting and we're sewing and we're pressing and we're cutting and we're sewing and we're pressing. So I'm gonna try to Henry Ford that. I'm so excited. We're in prairie mode. I can't even get into it. It's so good. Quilting is so good. We should all be quilting. God. It's time to start cutting into the real fabric to make these 4 Sawtooth Stars. I'm trying to have as limited a color palette as possible, so this block is beige, black, and black gingham. I want to sew that all up so bad, but unfortunately it's New Year's Eve and I have to go celebrate with my community. So to be continued in 2026. Happy New Year. Okay, The center panel is really different than the top rectangles of the border. Instead of physically quilting, I'm going to be cutting out my own shapes, embroidered, drawn, sewn, whatever, gory characters that are going to be appliqued, like sewn on top of this panel. That's something I've never really done before, so I have the least amount of confidence. I did some little sketches of some of his prominent character styles to get a better sense of how he constructs a character, and their head shape has been the most surprising. I think I definitely want to have the gory insert and the maid, because that's just such a classic like mystery character, and she has a really striking appearance. And then there are several like 1920s-y rich ladies to pick from. I think I want to include one of those. I'm thinking maybe detective on the far left panel, maid on the far right. It's these sort of 3 or 4 interior spots I'm thinking of. I'm gonna look in, make a decision, start on one, and then just keep going. I did get some fur for his coat. Is this too crazy? We'll see, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. I really did not know where to start with this. I'm gonna say that a lot in this video, but it's true. So I just freehand drew the characters in the size that I would need. I also decided to name them and think of little roles for them. Just be patient and you'll see their names. Then, once I locked down their size, I traced the characters from my computer screen onto parchment paper in the exact correct size, and I was truly building the bridge as I was crossing it. Okay, I had no idea what to do next. I was just like, there's just too many variables already with this quilt. I just want to get this really exact. So I decided to get a light board. You can hear my reaction to the light. Woo! Light board technology has really changed. When I was a kid, it was like holding a hot briefcase on your lap. What the f? Okay. I'm afraid I've done something quite rash. Quite strange. Let me show you. You see here? A maid. I cut away all of the black. She shall be reverse appliqued. I sort of panicked, and when I saw how finicky and fraying all the black pieces of fabric were, even when they had interfacing on the back, I was like, dude, I don't want to sew down all these tiny little pieces and make them look good, so I just cut off all the bits that were black and put it behind her like those wooden toys where you can put the different slices of fabric in and put it down and like make a little outfit. I don't know what this is gonna look like, but it's gonna be fine and it's gonna be gorgeous because it's gory, baby. I sewed around the perimeter of the character to keep the black fabric behind her in place and added some reverse applique hair for her as well. It's a few days later, and very luckily, there is no sun in sight. Today, I'm gonna tangle with the other 2 characters I need to reverse applique. And I got the pattern for the house blocks that I wanna do in the corners. Okay, wait, since I have you here, can I tell you what books I'm reading really quick? I think you're gonna like it. Okay. Phoebe's Diary by the illustrator Phoebe Wall. She literally has illustrated her freshman year of high school diary. The illustrations are fantastic. Such a vibe. 9 Lives by Dan Baum, Death and Life in New Orleans. This is like Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, but for New Orleans, written so incredibly well. Okay, those are my recommendations. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back. Shh. now is the question of how I'm gonna do reverse applique on this massive coat with the fur that I have. What I'm worried about now is the structural integrity, because if I cut away all the parts that are fur, that just leaves his little hands and his head, and you lose a lot of the specificity of the cuffs and the collar. I don't know. And his hands are so small that I just worry that it's all gonna get lost. My new idea is to leave the cuffs and the collar in this base beige material and then leave the base of the coat in the all fur. That way, this retains integrity and I'm not worried about it sort of Theseus shipping itself into oblivion, where like it's so many different parts that it's not really attached at its core to anything. I don't know. This process makes my brain hurt a little bit, but I think it's gonna be really worth it. Today is a quiet day. I finished doing the sewn detailing. Focus, please. And these little hands are my absolute favorite. I love it so much. I finally wrangled with the green dress and got it to an okay place. I also added a black backing for her hair, and we're pretty much done with these murder suspects, but it's a whole different beast. The like sewing machine drawing it really takes a good amount of practice. It's just totally different than regular sewing, but it's extremely cool, and I feel like I've unlocked a whole new arena of projects. So now I'm gonna cut these guys up and put them onto the central panel, which I'm also adding like a foreground to, like a strip of ground for them to stand on, just to make it feel a little more dynamic. Sometimes I just feel like one of the fruits that Bunnicula got to. In these moments, it's easier to lean into like a frumpled, artistic European vibe. I used this applique stitch that I had never used before to sew them down to the central panel, and it was so satisfying. I love this stitch. we've basically got the centerpiece done, but this project is asking a lot of skills for me to learn. Today, we're gonna make the little houses on the corners. Those are gonna be done with something called foundation pattern piecing. You literally print out, or in my case, I'm gonna do some tracing, literal piece of paper with numbers, like a paint by numbers drawing, and you sew right on top of it as a guide and a stabilizing force for your block. I'm gonna be learning this and doing this for the first time. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of mistakes. If you're an experienced quilter, I'm sorry. But there's also no craft police. You just have to follow your fun, and my fun has led me to this diagram. Well, that took way longer than I thought that it would. But I have made a wee house. My little brain has been working, and now I am gonna prep all of the shapes in the correct colors, which unfortunately are not as colorful and cute as this. This does look pretty sick though. Now we get into the real fabric. It looks like I'm hitching a ride for any other task. Anybody? Pretty dead out here. So it looks like I'll probably have to do it. Next, these black side panels, I'm gonna be putting some detectives in there, sowing seeds of clues like Johnny Appleseed, okay? Our harvest is going to be bountiful. I used some scrap fabric that I had from making a skirt years ago and decided to take inspiration from these walking detectives from the mystery intro. I loved working on them. And you can see the difference between what it looks like when you iron interfacing on the back versus a wrinkly one. One of my favorite effects in painting and I guess in quilting is like making light physical. You don't think of it that way, but it's so satisfying and cool to sort of twist your brain. So being able to make their flashlights really, the light from their flashlights really bright with this awesome like lemon yellow linen that I had was so fun. I also figured out what I wanted to do for the other corner panels. I wanted a tombstone for our dearly departed Nellie, who is the victim of our crime, and I wanted a very Gorey-esque bat in front of the moon. And before I knew it, well, actually not before I knew it, I worked on this for 2 months. I had all the pieces. The chessboard is nearly complete, but there are still a few pieces missing. I'm gonna sew all of the pieces together to make the quilt face, and then I'm gonna be adding some details, which, if I were you, I'd pay attention to. But who am I? Just a simple detective. This is the real moment of truth for me, because how straight and precisely I'm able to put these together will determine the success and look of this quilt. And only if it looks precisely will I be able to fit in the extra text I would like to, and only then would you be able to finally solve this here murder. The owlish, somber, incredulous lineup eyed Nellies, cold entombment. Huh. I sewed it up in a sort of rustic hand-sewn style because that's just what I had in mind when I first pictured it. I love like a very rustic style. And before I knew it, again, not before I knew it, I worked so hard on this, it was ready. Did you solve it? If you did, tell me the dastardly tale of what occurred in the quilt down in the comments. This is only the second quilt I've ever made, and woo! Quilting feels so good. It's hard, but it's also not as hard as you think. It leaves a lot of room for improvement, and it feels so incredible to execute a difficult style of block. It's just so satisfying. And there was a bunch of new that I got to buy. I learned so many new skills on this. It's actually crazy. Free motion sewing, reverse applique quilting. This is a new block I learned. Paper piecing for the house block. I feel like I jumped into advanced beginner, maybe. And that feels really good. I hope that I'm able to quilt for like decades more of my life. That's how good it felt. I've been working on it for so long that I can't really see it fresh anymore, but it really is an amazing feeling to have an idea for something and to make it real. I think it like trains your brain in a positive way that like, hey, you're capable, you can do things, your dreams are not stupid, you can make something real out of them. And in this case, it was this. Let me know if you enjoyed this in the comments. I would love to have you around, so please subscribe. It looks like for now, the job of this detective is done. Catch you later, bye.